Thank you very much, Kro, for this invitation here. I've been looking forward to give you this presentation. My name is Peder, or Peder in Danish. And I'm here to present to you a service that we provide on the internet now for Iceland, as well as the other Scandinavian countries and the UK, Poland, and Germany. It's called SCALGO. And it's basically a data repository for your elevation data, but it's much more advanced than that, because on top of this, we provide service to analyze surface waters on your terrain data. I hope to get you interested. I can tell you now already, University of Iceland, all employees and students have access to this. I will show you in the end how you do access it. And it's for free for universities. Right. So what we do, where I come from, is I come from a Danish company where the majority of my colleagues, they are computer scientists and experts in working on big data, and they work on two aspects of computer science. They work on computing on the data. That means algorithms. So they have produced very efficient algorithms so you can work on these big data, terrain data. And then they have also worked on efficient data structures, which makes it possible to pre-compute all parameters and store them in these data structures so you can access them instantly, the results, without waiting for computation time to take place. If anybody of you have been working with flood modeling, then you know that it's very time consuming. It takes a lot of skills to set up a model. And also on that account, it requires specialist skills in order to do it. So if you are a scientist working with this, then you can do it. It still takes time for you to do flood modeling. If you are an everyday caseworker in a municipality, for example, handling cases on open land, and you want to include floodwater management, then that's something that is not easily done. You need to work together with somebody else. Even though that you may know how to do it, then there is this issue with terrain data that they are truly big data also in a computer science meaning. Very often you're working in gigabytes of data, and it's very, very easy to get up to terabytes of data, especially if you're working nationwide in many countries. In Denmark, for example, mainland Denmark, we have an elevation model which is 40 by 40 centimeter in resolution. And even though that Denmark is a small country, the LiDAR point cloud is more than 1.5 terabytes of data. So it's truly big. And when data becomes larger than internal memory in the computer, then it becomes a practical issue on its own. Not only do you need to know how to compute the water parameters, but you also must know how you do handle the data computer-wise. And that's not a simple task to do. So with our service, we try to change this world for our users so that you can open the browser, start SCALGO, and then you can start looking at the data immediately to map where do you have the flood risk. You can get to a thorough understanding of what causes the flood risk at a certain point. If you have a flow accumulation or flood accumulation at a certain point, you can get to an understanding of where does the water come from and how is the relation between added precipitation and how much water is actually accumulated. You can do that within minutes. And then you can also test solutions in the end. And I'm looking forward to showing this to you. All of this you can do within one project meeting, and you don't need to prepare yourself. You can just open our browser, SCALGO in your browser, and start working. And there's no data handling along the way. So you don't need to be a data handling expert in order to use it. See, what we do is that we harvest the elevation model for your country. They are normally separated in tiles. We merge everything together into one big data model and store it in our data structures so you can access them dynamically. We pre-compute all surface water analysis in national extent, full resolution, put them into the same data structures. And then we have built some dynamic tools with which you can query all these results instantly. And on top of this, we have built a digital sandbox where you can mold or change the terrain. For example, you can make basins, you can build dikes, you can add local plans to it. You can add plans from a GIS, just drag and drop roads, houses, buildings, anything, and then you can see the effect on water immediately. So our approach is that we aim at taking out data handling as much as possible of your hands, so it becomes information for you. It's web-based. You don't need to buy anything other than a license to SCALGO Live, and being a university, you have free access to SCALGO Live. It's interactive. You can interact with the data and the analysis, and it's very, very easy to use, although you can also take it out on an advanced level if you want to. But it's so easy to use that you don't actually need to know what a GIS is in order to use SCALGO Live. And then one more thing is that it's very visual, and that empowers communication and collaboration. So you can use it if you are interfering with a landowner. You can just open the browser, open SCALGO Live, and start exploring the landowner's land and see where are the problems. And everybody can understand what is going on the screen. I'm starting up SCALGO Live in a minute to show it to you. It's important to know that the way that we compute flooding based on rain is that we add a uniform amount of rain all over the terrain. It's a static model, so we don't compute dynamic time steps, and all rain that lands on the terrain immediately ends in the depressions on the terrain. We map out the flow paths, and you can query the flow paths, and thereby you can get information about how much water is actually running through the single flow path given a certain amount of rain. And then it's on a national scale, it's terrain-based, which means that all the water that lands on the terrain will stay on the surface, and it will flow along the surface. There's no infiltration in the national computations. We have made that possible for doing local computations. So what you do with SCALGO Live is that you make use of SCALGO Live from the very beginning in any project regarding open land where you are interested in water, or / where you are interested in downloading data, because we have also made download very, very easy, much easier than most platforms that you know of probably. So you can map, you can analyze and explore what are the problems, what causes the problems, and you can test solutions in SCALGO Live. It's very easy. And as I said, it works with communication as a communication tool because of its visualization means, and also it's very easy to collaborate on SCALGO Live, and I'm looking forward to showing you this. Right, I will jump to SCALGO Live now. So I have here SCALGO Live open in my browser window, and if you cannot see it, then I believe you will tell me. But this is SCALGO Live. I
can see it.
That's perfect. Great. I just enlarged the screen so it occupies everything here. So I'm still in the browser window. We have added a basic topographic map so you can always orientate yourself. On top of this, you can add streets and places, so you can switch them on and off and orientate yourself. And as you move in or zoom in, then you get more and more details mapped with streets and places like this. If you zoom in on an urban area, you can see that you get it very, very detailed mapped in the end. But when you zoom out, it's less detailed. You can switch off streets and have labels only if you are interested in that. This layer here, streets and places, stays on top of all layers. So when I switch on the elevation model for Iceland, you will see that I have these on top of the elevation model. So here are the elevation data. You can always get information about what kind of data you have by clicking here, or you can switch between different kinds of symbologies. Here it's the default symbology where you get an impression of the elevation by coloring and also by hill shading. but you can also, if you want to, switch to slope, and then you get the slopes mapped out almost everywhere. Right, as you can see here, it works very dynamically. You can just zoom in, and when you zoom in, I wanted to zoom in on Reykjavik. I'm not super strong on Icelandic geography, but I kind of know where Reykjavik is. I can zoom in, and you can see more and more details will start to show up on the surface here, and that goes everywhere. One of the analyses that we conduct is sea level rise, and it comes with a slider, and therefore when I use that slider, you can see here that it says now 1.4 meter. That doesn't create any flooding, but now we start to get flooding inland, and as I move it more and more up, you can see that more and more will flood. If you are interested, let's say you are into the business where you want to protect from flooding, if you are interested in knowing where should you put out your sandbags, for example, in a critical case, you turn on critical points, you can shift to magenta, and then let's say that you want only to map out here, if it floods more than a hectare behind, then as I turn on the slider, you can see here is a critical point. So this point here is where it floods. I can query this, and I can get told that behind this point is reached by a flooding of 2.59, or sea level rise of 2.59 meters. If I continue, then this critical point disappears, then another point appears here, and then I can see that it now floods if the critical point is, the sea level is 3.42 meters. I can follow the flooded area dynamically here on the graph, the profile graph here. You can see the water level standing here, and as I take out the water, you can see that at a certain point it will appear in the graph, and as I add more water, it will raise also in the graph. It's dynamic, so I can move in the graph here, and I can, if there's something on the profile I would like to investigate on the map, I just freeze my position, and then I zoom in on the map and identify what is this on the map. I can also measure gradients, so the cursor turns into black both in the graph and also in the map, and then I just move my cursor to another destination, and if I freeze the position, you can see here I get here measured the gradient. So this is something that you can use if you are, for example, a city planner. You just make a profile along a road, and then, and then you make the profile following here, and then you can use that to follow the road and see what is what's the shape of the road and what are the gradients on the road. So this is one thing that was the sea level. Another thing that I will show you is the flash flood map. It works like this. It comes with a rain slider. So I have here 0 millimeters of rain. When I turn the slider on, you can see that it will fill up the inland depressions with water. I must say right now that it's only the terrain model itself that determines where the water will end up. If you know that there are culverts locally, then you can add them if you create a workspace. So you can take water subsurface in a pipeline, for example. But right now, those are not included in the modeling. So maybe a flooding locally will not appear in reality, but you need then to take into account this in the way that you work with it. All the flow paths in the country is mapped here. It comes with a filter where I can filter off by catchment size, and then I can zoom in, and then I can query the flow path, and then I get the watershed mapped for any flow path that I would like to have, big or small, if you would like. So if I need this, catchment here, and if I want to work with it, I just click on the download button, and then I get it downloaded, and now I have that polygon here. And if I am used to working in a GIS, I can open my GIS and put it in here, and then I can continue my work in the GIS. I can again zoom in locally and start working with the flash flood map here. Let's create a workspace here. So if I create a workspace like this, then I can start changing the terrain very easily. What I get access to is a toolbox. It's here. And let me take this one out. And let us look here. So let's say that that we know that there is actually a culvert beneath this road here. There's most likely a culvert. Then I can use my terrain editing tool and put the culvert beneath the road. I can see afterwards what is the profile, and I can see here we have high level, and here we have low level terrain, so the water will flow from here to there. So I can just compute now for the workspace. I'm computing the analysis. I switch off the national analysis now, and then soon I will get analysis results here for my workspace, so that I can see that. And here I have the flash flood, and I can see, okay, the culvert actually helped. There's no flooding going on this side of the road on this here now, and I can do that. If I want to create a basin, work with a natural depression here, I can enlarge that. I have these tools here. So what it does is that it reads the elevation locally when I start, and then I can add extra contours inside the single depression here. And then I can lower the contour, for example, to 7 meters here. And then, as you can see, the change takes place immediately in the terrain model if I take out here. So now I have changed this. So I created a basin here, and I can also, if I switch on the flow path, so you can see there's a flow path running through here. So if I recompute, now this should work as a retention basin on the flow path. Also, if I'm interested in building a dike along the coastline, so if I'm raising the water level, I may be interested in building a dike over here. I don't know if it makes sense right now, but I'm just showing you functions at the moment. I can raise the path. Let's say we make it 2 meters wide, and I start by raising it 2 meters. I can just build a wall along and you can see it's built here. I can take it out, the profile along the wall, and see, am I satisfied with the height of the wall? And if I'm not, I can change the height. I can move up or down if I want to. I can also make it go down in the ends, etc. Save. I can edit the cross section and add side slopes to it. Just a second, I need to here. Yes, and then add side slopes to it. Save, and then I can recompute again, and then I can see what is the effect then on the water that I'm lifting on the sea level that I'm lifting up. Right, and everything, as I told you, can be downloaded. If I have the flash flood mapping here switched on, then I can download everything. So right now I like this, export, download data. I just marked the area I would like to download, and then download arrows appear all the way through. So I can just take out the elevation model itself. I could also take out the flash flood map, and then I get what are the water depths at this rain level. You can see I can adjust with the slider the rain level. I can take it out as an event theme. That means that for each pixel, I get denoted at how much rain should fall before I flood as a pixel. So if I take this one out now, I will get a raster data layer with information on how much water precipitation should fall before the single pixel flood. Some pixels will not flood, and they are therefore not mapped here. And I can also, of course, show you the surface model itself as I took it out here. Right. Another thing is that if I'm collaborating with somebody who has access to SCALGO Live, then I can zoom in on a spot and say, okay, this here is critical. I would like to talk to Gro about what can we do here. I just copy the URL and paste it in an email, and then Gro, she just clicks on the link in the email, and then it opens exactly the way I set SCALGO Live before. Also, if I work with these workspaces, then in any workspace is shareable with another user. I just type in, press share, and then I get the list of colleagues from my own organization. I can just click on a button and share it with my colleague. And if I want to share it with somebody else, that being, for example, in a private company or a municipality, I can type in the email address of another user and press share, and then that person will get access to the same workspace. Right. Gro, how much time do we have left for this? I cannot hear you. You are muted.
Sorry, yes, sorry, I forgot. We have 5 minutes. I think maybe if you show how people actually can access this before it's one, then I think it's a good time, and then we maybe can open up for some questions and see if there are more,
yes,
in that connection, more functionalities that you can demonstrate.
Yes. First time you open SCALGO Live, you just type scalgo.com and press /live, and that's it. Then because I have access to so many countries, I need to also type Iceland. You only need to type scalgo.com/live, and then you get this. And then you need to type in single sign-on, and then you should find University of Iceland. So this here login is for people from University of Iceland. You just click here, and then you type login, and then you are taken to your standard login page from your university. I hope you're familiar with that. And once you have logged in here, then you have access to SCALGO Live Iceland, like I have here. So that's how easy it is. So it's open your browser window, scalgo.com/live, and then you are taken to the login page. And once you try to log in, you should use the single sign-on and find University of Iceland on the list. If you are not from University of Iceland, please send me an email. I would be happy to give you set you up for a demonstration account, and then we can always talk about licensing afterwards if you become interested in having access to SCALGO Live via. And my email is Peter with a D @scalgo.com, and then just send me an email. Also, if you have problems with logging in from University of Iceland, just send me an email. I will help you to log on to SCALGO Live. Right. That's it for now. Cool. I think I told the major story.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a super interesting tool with many functionalities that is working very quickly, which is super nice to see. If people have questions, they can either type them into the chat or unmute themselves can raise the question there. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was wondering until there is one raised hand. We cannot see who it is. Two raised hands. Can you unmute yourself and ask the question? The way I'm set up, I cannot see exactly who it is that is raising the hands. Sorry.
I see Benjamin is, and I have one, so maybe I'll go first. Is that okay, Benjamin? Okay. Yeah, very nice talk. Thank you very much, Peder.
Thank you.
Really, really beautiful to see all these maps and very quickly, fast rendering. I have a question regarding the algorithm you use for flooding from ocean into land.
Yes.
Because often even the algorithm that the New York Times was using, often it will, of course, like you raise the ocean level.
Mm-hmm.
Some parts that are non-connected to the ocean, they will flood.
Yeah.
It seems, at least in this case, seems that you solve that loophole there.
Yes. So it's topologically correct modeled. So you don't get flooded inland unless there is a path to the sea, to the coast, with the sea level raise. So you will find depressions inland that may be lower. They don't flood unless there is a flow path connecting to the raised sea level. So it's correctly computed. I can guarantee you that. I actually do have a slide somewhere showing you how we computed. I didn't prepare that slide, but if you are interested, I can send you that afterwards. You just send me an email. I can send it.
I will be very happy to send. Very nice to see it. I really enjoyed your talk. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Peder, maybe you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very fascinating talk. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Are you all right, Nicole?
Yes, I'm all right. I just said the wrong name. I realized.
Yeah, all good. I was assuming it was me. No, thank you very much. And I played a little bit around with the Icelandic version already before.
Okay, cool.
It worked really nicely. I was just wondering, I mean, we only had a very short time, of course, for the talk, but maybe you could say a few words about the challenges of actually making this platform work. I think in theory you can apply it worldwide, but countries like Iceland and so on will have a more sophisticated DEM underlying it.
Yes.
So I was just wondering about like the team that works on the application in the background, what your main challenges and tasks are, and how you're planning on expanding maybe also to other countries.
Right. So everything that we have built on SCALGO Live is coded up from bottom. So it's not like a hack from anything else. It builds on the theoretical algorithms produced by the research environment from Aarhus University, and then we have taken it further. So you can say that the challenges my colleagues have had are to refine it even more. Our aim is next year to go into USA, because then USA will be mapped almost all over with 1 meter resolution. And that is a huge challenge where we have taken the theory for IO efficient algorithms into paralleling also. See, Denmark and Iceland, they can just stay on one computer. If you work on the United States, it's several computers. And to optimize that and to make that work, that has been a tremendously big challenge. But we are almost there now, and we are looking forward to that. And once that has taken place, we are, so to speak, ready for doing the globe in 1 meter resolution if data comes up in that quality. We do have another product than country-wise. We do have a global product. And if you are, as a researcher, working in another area, you are welcome to approach me. Then I can set you up on our global product for you personally on your user account in Iceland, University of Iceland. But our global product is based on the SRTM data, which is old and coarse in resolution. And those data are only for demonstrating that it works. then you need to construct a workspace. And what I didn't show you is that it's very easy to upload your own LiDAR data or your own elevation data. And then you can construct a workspace using your own elevation data, but you using our algorithms to do the analysis. I do have a video where I show you where we show you how to construct your own workspace with your own data. So you just ask me, and then I'll show you how to do that. I don't know if that's kind of answered your question.
Thank you very much. That's in a nutshell. I guess you can talk for hours about this.
For sure.
Direction. Thank
you. You're welcome.
Other questions? And maybe I was so happy that you also have the permeability option. Maybe you can talk a little bit about this, just because it's so easy to say, but it's flooding, but it doesn't take into account how permeable the ground is, etc.
Exactly.
I think that's maybe a relevant point to just highlight.
It's super relevant, and thank you, Gro, for remembering that. So you can switch from working with editing the elevation to editing land use here. So you need a land cover map. I don't have a land cover map for Iceland, so we haven't built it into the system yet. If you know of a freely accessible land cover map for Iceland, we can build it in. Otherwise, you need to upload that yourself. What you do is that you click to land use, and then you take your shapefile, zip it, and then you just drag it and drop it here, and then it integrates itself automatically. See, what I can show you right now is that I can show you that I can also do it manually. I can add a new group. Let's say that you have forest on Iceland. So I create a forest group here. And then I can work with the forest. Sorry, yes. Land use, add new. Oh, sorry, it was group. It was type. I should have add new type. Forest, create. And then I have forest here. So now I can create, and I'm doing something silly now. So I'm just marking this area up and say this is forest, and create. Everything else is unknown. And then I can, for each land cover category, I can assign a runoff function. So let's say that I assign a runoff function for forests. I will say runoff coefficient is only 10 from a forest. And the first 25 millimeters is not, and everything else, let's edit that one and say everything else runs off with 70% like this. Then this will be included in the computation for my workspace right now. So not all the water will run on the surface, but a certain amount according to the single runoff function will disappear from the surface and be put into subsurface. And then it will leave the equation, so to speak. We don't handle subsurface water movements in our computations. We only handle at surface movements, but we can make water disappear from the surface. And then when I compute here, not the national model, but here, then you can see what is the difference between having with infiltration and no infiltration. I hope you can see it here. Let me switch to this view here, but with infiltration and no infiltration. Then you can see what is the impact of that. And you can see the water level standing here with infiltration and no infiltration. Of course, you need to have local knowledge about the single land cover classes that you assign runoff functions to, so that you assign the correct runoff function. We provide the tool where you can do it. We don't have local knowledge about this, so you must find that local knowledge yourself in order to apply this to your computations on Scalable Live. And you can also then export these results out of Scalable Live and put them into another GIS tool if you want to. Was that answering your?
Yeah, this was exactly what I was thinking about. And I think that the people who are listening, I mean, if we have countrywide layers of land cover, I can see that Benjamin is highlighting the Korean data. I don't know, there are certainly also other types of data maybe at Landmælingar that could be relevant to be implemented.
Yeah.
That could be, if people have certain layers in mind that could be implemented, maybe it's worth basically contacting you so they are available to begin with. So So if you have layers that are important for everybody who uses SCALGO Live Iceland, then please contact me and then we will put them into SCALGO Live. You can also actually put it into SCALGO Live for yourself on your own account of Iceland. In your account settings, you can move down and then you can add organizational external layers here, connect them via WMTS connections into SCALGO Live. And you can also, as a user, you can add your own personal layers from other servers if you only, as a user, would like to have those added to SCALGO Live. And there is an explanation when you open these functions. You get an explanation on how to open up a service for you on SCALGO Live. Okay, I don't see more questions and we are kind of run out of time. So I think I just want to say thank you again, Peder. This is super interesting. I am sure that several people look forward to go ahead and play with this new tool. Perfect. I also just want to say to everybody that this video is recorded, which means that if you could not follow the very quick mouse movements that Peder have, then you have a second chance and go to the video when I send out an email, and then you can actually see maybe specific parts that you missed out on because there was so much information to consume. And let me just say, if you need some material to guide you, I have a lot of material, so you can just send me a link and I will send you some links to guiding material as well. We have some instructional videos, etc. Yes. Yeah, I think I definitely would. If you can send this to me, then I can also send that out along with the video.
I'll do it right away.
The video is generally taking, these days, it will take a bit more than a week before it's available. It depends a bit on how busy the people making the video are. So, but otherwise, I just want to say thank you again, Peder.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for all the listeners, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.